the number one thing that I do is I plan. I'm a planner. I know there are people out there that don't plan, and I get that. And so you don't have to plan in such a way where it's stressful to you, but plan in such a way where you have a working knowledge of what you are trying to do and what your goals are, right? We all have things we're working towards. And so whether that way of achieving it is done in a very, this is what I'm doing from this hour to this hour, or a very generic, hey, these are the things I need to get done next week in order to make the needle move a little bit, right? However that works for you, I'm sure there's something that is really ticking for you properly. And so use that methodology for your planning purposes. Now, I know that some people, they start planning either the Sunday for the week ahead, or sometimes even a Monday morning. They get up earlier and they plan for the week ahead. I personally like to plan on Fridays for the week ahead, because quite frankly, I already know what I have to do the following week, and I already know what is required of me. Raise your hand if that's true for you. And so I like to plan it on a Friday, so that way Sundays I can actually not have to worry about planning, and I can actually just do it on my work hours for Friday, and I'm not even eating into family time on the weekends, because for me that's huge. I like to really reserve my weekends for family time and do minimal work on the weekends unless I absolutely have to, or there's lunch times or something going on. So that takes me to your number 2, which is pick 3 to 5 things from the list that you've made, your to-do list, and prioritize those 3 to 5 things for the following week. And I say 3 to 5 things because honestly, getting many big things done during the week can be tough. Not to say that you can't do it, but it can be overwhelming. And let's not set ourselves up for failure, wah on that, right? We do not want to set ourselves up for failure, because when we do that, we cause stress, and we also cause overwhelm, and we cause anxiety. We cause a lot of things that really we don't need to do that to ourselves. So let's set us up for success. Let's be very intentional about our schedule for the week ahead and have 3 to 5 things that are achievable, that are doable, that are practical, and that also is something that you can do. That takes me to number 3. Blocking out your days and batching. I was not always a batching person. I still don't do batching for everything all the time, although I've started diving a little bit more into it over the summer. But what I did do is I took my schedule Monday through Friday, how many hours do I really want to work? And while I'm doing that, what are some of the days that I want to take off, or I want to have half a day, or I want to allocate some of that time to do certain things that are more personal in nature, or rest, or family time, because that's also important to me. That's not something that should be coming as a thought that comes later on, or maybe if I have time for that, I'll do it. I can't do that. I want to spend time with my kids. I want to have time for them also, and I want them to know that they're important. And so I actually carved that time out first. And so when I did that, I had other times that were allotted out, and then I made one day where it's team meetings and client meetings. I had another day where I was just doing all batch work for my podcast recordings. Then I had another day where I was just working on the business and working on client work. And so I divided up the week in that way, where it really helped me also manage my stress, manage my workload, and also manage my expectations for myself. So it's so important that you are doing that. So that takes me to number 4, which is do it. So now that we've made this amazing plan, we have to do it. If we don't do it, that's where the problem comes, and that's where it starts creeping into us, right? And I'm going to kind of speak in tandem to number 5, which is, while we want to do what we plan out, while we want to do it, and that is the only way of actually executing our written plan, is to actually have action backing it up. What's also important is rest. What's also important is that we can't allow stress and guilt to intervene or become blockading what we are doing. And so what happens is that sometimes when we set up something and we just aren't feeling it, that day we woke up and we're just like, oh my gosh, this is just not happening today. You had a rough night, or you just wake up feeling like, I just need a rest. My body's telling me I need a rest. That's okay. Make that choice. We so many times don't give ourselves permission to rest. We don't give ourselves permission to take that time and to reflect and to listen to our bodies. And we need to. Sometimes we are just so much on the go that we don't realize that our body just needs to literally rest and do nothing, and that's okay too. I know I have a mind where it's constantly running at 1,000 miles per hour compared to whatever else is happening around me. And that can cause me overwhelm because I'm like, gosh, I have to do so much stuff and I'm just not getting it done. And the reality is that it's okay. It's okay if you choose to make the decision to rest rather than doing something that you were supposed to do in your plan of action. And once we've made that decision that we are going to rest, let it be. When you start going back and thinking about, oh, I could have done this or I could have done that, and truly you could have, right? But don't feel guilty about it. Don't let the stress come in, because I tell you that is the thief of your joy and peace and sanity, right? We just cannot allow that to steal it. And so allow yourself to be like, you know what, next time I'm going to actually maybe do 10% of it so I don't feel that guilty. So we learn from it if it's not sitting well with us after we make the decision. But once we've made the decision, we've made it. You can't go back in the past and change it. So you have to be at peace with the decision you've made. But you can definitely learn from it and move forward. Learn from it and make some changes in the future if that didn't sit well with you. But don't let guilt come in. Don't let the stress come in, because that will steal your joy. And we don't want that to come and steal our joy and our peace. And so with that being said, I'll catch you next time. Bye.